The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corporation.
Hot topics, food, fun, entertainment, and serious business. Live Las Vegas with Rikki Cheese.
Now, by this time, you guys are used to seeing me bopping at the front of my show. I'm always so happy with my guests because they're talking about really wonderful projects and they're always really, really talented. And every so often, like, somebody will come from moral support and end up being a guest on the show. That's what happened today. It's like, you're just standing over here. You might as well be a guest. And poor Ray Sanchez is like, I wasn't planning on it, but that's okay. All right, here's what we're talking about today. One of the most fun, effective programs I've been involved in a very, very long time that really, really touched my heart and I think raised a lot of awareness here in the community, which was the free teen shopping day that was sponsored by Project 150, Zappos, and Homes Aid here in Southern Nevada. One of the things that I think a lot of people do not realize, and honestly I didn't know the problem was so serious, was that we have so many teenagers who are actually going to school, but who are technically homeless, who have nothing, who are just, and Project 150 is dedicated to keeping these kids in school. So let me go down the line and introduce my guests to you today. We've got, sitting right next to me, we've got Robery Varga. He's with Project 150. He's going to explain how it all works. We've got Butista from Zappos. He was there that day and was kind of taking me through the ropes of why Zappos is involved, and we've got Ray Sanchez, who is his partner in not crime, but in really good things, and who's also going to talk about why Zappos is involved. I was stunned at the line of kids who showed up and the families who showed up for that free teen shopping day. It was amazing. The line was in front of Zappos and up the freeway ramp.
Yep.
Wow. And you guys had to even open early because the crush was so tremendous.
So we made the decision when we talked about it earlier at the event, and they started letting in people. We ran it from 9 to 2, and then the first people, the line started early, as early as 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Before 7 a.m., there were people lining up already. So, we started getting in the first groups, and then in total, by the end of the day, we got through 1,400 students that came through the doors.
Wow, right. So tell me about Project 150. I know just doing the research, hanging out with you and Melly Polito, who's your executive director now. I feel like I know you guys like this. I spent so much time with you. It was started by a couple of guys here in town who found out about a need at Rancho High School, my alma mater, and there was 150 kids who didn't have something at Christmas. But now, how many kids are you serving?
So right now, we serve a couple thousand of students each year. Actually, registered homeless, there's 3,300 registered homeless in the school district.
What does that mean, registered homeless?
Registered homeless, they actually file the paperwork. They actually go through Clark County Social Services, and they file the paperwork to be declared homeless, go through the eligibility, and they actually get the title of homeless and get the services through the county.
Now, when we say they're homeless, are they sleeping somewhere? I mean, what technically is homeless? Because that doesn't mean that they're sleeping on the street.
Yeah, no, there's definitely different definitions. Clark County has their definition. Our motto at Project 150 is we do homeless, displaced, and disadvantaged. We definitely have the cases that we'll see through our doors of children that are actually living in the streets with families, living at shelters, but it expands to so many more things. There's the families that just got evicted from their home because their parent lost a job. There's the family that's living at grandma and grandpa's house because, they can't afford the rent that month. There's the students living with friends, and we'll have a group of students that come together, work part-time jobs, and all have a shared apartment that 4 or 5 students will share together. So at Project 150, our whole idea is we don't ask eligibility, we don't ask any questions, we truly try to help anyone in need. We'll have families affected by fires, by disaster, by tragedy, so we truly try to expand upon it because there's around 3,300 registered and around 3,000 more that might fall under that umbrella that are embarrassed to ask the questions, that are embarrassed to go get the eligibility paperwork done. So we try to expand to around 6,000 students that we try to serve in the valley.
That is amazing. One of the things that really impressed me was watching the Zappos employees, you guys helping them shop. Now, you have to imagine this scenario. The warehouse, the Project 150 warehouse, looked like a Zappos warehouse. I mean, the way it was stacked with all these clothes and supplies and all that stuff, because the whole idea was to fill the backpacks. what I didn't realize was that for a lot of kids, their backpacks, that's their life. They've got it's not just their clothes, it's not just the school supplies, it's their toiletries, it's an extra change of clothes, it's their books, and to watch you guys just be so sensitive with them helping them shop was just neat. Yeah.
Yeah, we get to see them a couple times a year. We do the prom closet with Project 150 as well, during prom season. And then we get to see them again when we do the back to school. And Project 150 does something for them all year round. And so it's great to be able to, get to know these individuals in our community and how can we help them and how can we just make, even one day better than it was.
Right, yeah. Were you even anticipating that kind of turnout, right? I mean, did you even think in a million years it would be that big?
Yes and no. So we knew how many, homeless students there were in the Clark County, area. So we anticipated a good amount to come, but more came than we expected, and that was a good thing, though. It was good just to go ahead and help these students and walk them through the whole experience and choosing shoes, getting the school supplies, also getting the clothes and necessities that they needed. So just to see the smiles on their faces and see how they appreciated everything, it was awesome, worth it. Do it 10,000 times over. So
well, and what I loved about how you had the whole thing set up like on the outskirts of your sort of like promenade thing in the middle, right? There was a bounce house. There were free haircuts. I mean, I thought I was going to get a manicure. It was like the way you guys had it laid out for the families. It wasn't just about the teens. It was, for the moms and dads who were sitting waiting for their kids to go shopping, and for the little ones too. I thought that was like really neat.
Yeah, it's we're all about experiences as well. So it's not just about handing something out to an individual in need. It's about also creating an experience so that they walk away with something more than just that. And so with the many events that we do throughout the year for charity, it's really all about not only giving food if there's a need for food, but also how do we engage like the children, how do we engage the parents, and so we make them feel like we don't want them to feel down. We want them to feel rise them up in the situation.
Actually, I was having fun that day. My photographer and I, Jose, we were right there, shooting panorama, and everybody just seemed to be just getting along. It just seemed to be just a really fun event, and it was nice that you had it so people could be inside in the air conditioning because it was hot that day.
Yeah. Unfortunately, back to school season is during the summertime, and over here you don't want to go out if you don't have to. But we were glad to see that many people came out, and we were able to help that many people in need.
Yeah.
We anticipated probably roughly like 1,000, and so we ended up having to go to stores and start to buy more stuff to hopefully fill the shelves to make sure that the kids that were the very last didn't have to worry about like slim pickings. We wanted them to be able to make some choices as well.
Yeah. Well, then I was watching at Project 150 a lot of the teenagers who are sort of like clients of the program stuffing the backpacks. I mean, it's a collaborative effort. It's like you just said, it's not just handing something out. Everybody's giving in and taking part in the process, and it's got to make you guys feel great.
It does. It absolutely does. Like, even setting up the day before, we put countless hours into it. We're there, late hours into the night, but it's all worth it just to go ahead and make that difference. And, one student or 1,000, 1,400 students in this case, lives. So it's amazing.
Right. Now, this is a one-time event every year, right? But here's the cool thing. That doesn't mean that kids can't get supplies year-round. Tell me about Betty's Closet.
Yeah, so we have our Betty's Boutique off of Rancho and Gowan, 3600 North Rancho. And we actually have our boutique open there Tuesday through Friday. All they need is their high school ID. Like I said earlier, we don't do any eligibility, any questions. We truly just ask for high school ID, just showing that they are in high school 9 through 12. They're able to shop once a month for 10 outfits, 2 pairs of shoes. We do the food, we do hygiene kits, and then we do school supplies for them since it's back to school season. In the winter, we stock it with winter coats. In the spring season, we stock it with formal wear if they can't go to our prom closet with Zappos in the spring. And it's all free of charge. They don't pay 1 penny. A lot of people come ask and they'll be like, oh, how much does it cost? I'm like, completely free. All you truly need is your high school ID. That's all the only question we ask, and they're able to come shop once a month for all the supplies that they need to start their school year off right. If the family hits a hard time in the year, they can come and stop on by. Truly any type of necessity we try to fulfill for these students.
And not to embarrass you, because I'm the only lady here at the desk, but I loved it that you can get bras, you can get underwear. These are the little things that people think about a shirt or pants or something, but you need those things too. Exactly. And you can get makeup. I mean, honestly, I thought even when I was looking at the list at the store, I thought, well, this could be a salon too. I love how this is working out. I mean, you can get, but it's part of it, and everybody I've talked to since that event that was on the 29th has said the same thing. It's really about letting these kids go back to school not feeling different, making sure they have their self-esteem so that they fit right in. Yeah.
I think it's going back to, like, I've never had to grow up like that, but I can imagine, I can only imagine what it may feel like when you don't have, a pair of shoes that you could properly wear, or they're a couple sizes too big or too small, and you have to play sports, or you're trying to make friends, or, it's a different climate probably when I was in high school compared to now, and it's probably gotten a lot more, stringent on what people consider to be the cool trends. And so to be able to help in any way that we can, being able to bring those items to these individuals is great because it only makes their high school experience better, and hopefully it changes their path in life.
Right, excellent. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Live Las Vegas with Rikki Cheese, and we're going to get into the Zappos culture and the Project 150 culture, and why these young men are willing to spend so much of their time helping others. We'll be right back.
Crazy Terry here with your car care tip of the day. So it's not a bad idea every now and then to check your battery. If you don't know how to do it, have somebody check it for you. Just a visual inspection can tell you a lot about your battery. So as we can see here, this battery's got a hold down. It's nice and tight. The cables are on. They don't look bad. We've got a cover. We don't see any corrosion. Everything's kind of tight, looking good. A little bit of dirt, that's normal, but nothing's leaking. No real cause for alarm here. So that's a good sign. Doesn't mean it's good, but at least visually we know that it's intact. Okay, so we're looking at a battery here that shows signs of corrosion. We want to test that battery to make sure it's good. Usually when they're getting like this, there's going to be a problem, leaking some acid at the top. We ran the test and we find out it has 396 cold cranking amps, but the battery requires 650. So it's just not enough. The battery is going to go soon. Better to know now than later. Okay, so the benefits of checking the cable is because this cable's rotted out. What we'll find is this is the problem, not the battery. So it'll save you from buying a battery, still having the no start, only to find out that it's a cable. This type of corrosion is common in diesels. Okay, so we're getting ready to jump the car, but we have to have some battery cables. And we have to check those too before we hook them up to the battery. So here we have our standard set of battery cables. We just look them over, see if the ends are frayed, if everything's connected all right. Everything looks good here. Wouldn't hurt to check the rest of the cable just to make sure the dog didn't get it and chew it up. We have red and black. Red's positive, black's negative. You always want to hook the positive up first and then the negative. And I'll show you how that's done right now. Keep these off to the side so they're not touching each other. Hook up your positive. You can find that right here by the plus sign, the negative sign. Plus is positive, red. Make sure that's securely hooked up. Keeping these away from each other. Hook up your negative cable. Just got to fight it on there. Figure out a way to get it. Wiggle it a little bit so it ensures a good connection. Now you're transferring voltage. If I hit these two together, we're going to spark. Kind of want to avoid that. Won't kill you. Kind of fun. A lot of people think if they can turn the headlights on, the battery's fine. That's not always the case. It takes very little amperage to turn a light on, but it takes a lot of amperage to start the starter. I recommend checking the charging system every oil change. At Sun Valley Automotive, there's never a charge for that. This is Crazy Terry with your car care tip of the day.
There are so many wonderful things about living here in Las Vegas, but one of the best of all is that this community is just so open-hearted and so warm, and whenever there's a need, everybody kind of comes together. And so I'm finding that I don't want to use the word millennials. I'm so sick of that word now. It's like, I want to call you like baby boppers or something like that. It's like, we got to come up with a better word. But I'm finding that the volunteer force is getting younger and younger and younger, which I find very, very encouraging. So what was it about your childhood that made you decide that you wanted to become a volunteer and do more than just work for Zappos?
Right. Well, in my childhood, I actually grew up just middle class, stuff like that. So I was always encouraged by my family to go ahead and help others and treat others the way you want to be treated. So that totally rang through my head throughout, high school as well and college. And I actually came across Zappos in a weird way through their volunteering efforts. So just giving back to the community And, knowing I can make a difference or a change in someone's life is what makes me feel good. So that's how I got involved in everything.
Now, did you work for Zappos before you found out about the volunteer effort, or was it the other way around?
It was the other way around.
Wow, okay.
So, yeah, that's actually one of the main things that helped me get employed at Zappos, made me want to go work for them. Learning about that first and then learning about the culture all the way around is definitely what pushed me towards Zappos.
Right, okay. And you?
So I fell into it, I think, more because I run the charity work for Zappos. And so the Zappos for Good kind of philanthropic arm of the company, over the last 7 years we've built, and we've worked with a lot of community members. So, I wasn't really so much introduced to it, before that. But as that being part of my job, I think I got more passionate about wanting to see how we could do good in the community. So we work with many charities, and Project 150 happens to be the one that I think we focus a lot of our efforts on, because there's a lot of need there. And I think if we could catch them young, if we can actually make a difference in their lives younger, we can actually help the community in a bigger way.
So now, your childhood, what was your inspiration?
So I went to private schools all my life, and we, as part of our work there, we volunteered, or we had so many hours that we needed to go ahead and participate within the community. And that's kind of how I got started with understanding and learning that outside of my bubble, there's a whole different world that, that either, is in need or, has a lot, whatever the case may be. But there's some opportunity there to make a difference.
Right. And for you as well.
So I guess I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum. I actually grew up in the bubble. So I definitely, came from, Title I schools, the works, government programs, all that assistance. But growing up, for me, I guess like our volunteers at Project 150, I guess there's a need. If you're receiving help, there's a way for you to keep passing it along and keep pushing it forward. So I guess for me, I always started volunteering when I was young, middle school, high school. And then when I went through UNLV, I actually got an internship through Project 150 through a scholarship program. So I was there 3.5 years as an intern, and now I'm on full-time as programs coordinator at Project 150. So for me, it's a little bit different. I always thought, if I'm receiving help, I should be able to pass it along and have someone else get help. So in my role at Project 150, my role is working with the schools, making sure people know that we're out here, that we're out for them, letting know about events that we do with Zappos, events that we do with our community partners, to let them know that the help's out there, and that, there's no shame in asking for help, because we're out there to help the community.
Give me a sense of the other programs. I mean, this of course got the most attention because it was so huge. But you say you guys collaborate on different smaller projects during the year.
Yeah, so one of the other major ones is the prom closet that we do during the springtime. It's usually about March. And in the past, I think we've done it for about maybe 4 years. This will probably be our 4th or 5th year. But they start collecting prom dresses, I think, right after prom season ends. And, those prom dresses, the people are either going to throw them away or put them in their closet and never see them again. So they start working right away to go ahead and collect prom dresses for the following year. And so what we do is we set up the campus just like you saw, our center plaza, which is the old city hall. We set it up with all the prom dresses, shoes. We work with some of our vendors that are on Zappos.com, and we get them to see if they could donate really nice, dress shoes for men and women. And then we set it all up. We even have a men's section with tuxes from some of our tux vendors that Project 150 has relationships with. And everyone could just go through, pick every single thing that they need for a prom, from the accessories, jewelry, to even some of the hygiene kits. So there's never any reason why someone can't go now. I mean, we basically have provided that, even with haircuts, just like you saw at this past event.
And there were some really nice haircuts.
Yeah. We get a lot of the community, and I think what makes it so special is that it's not just Zappos, it's not just Project 150, but it's all these community members like, the tuck shops, the dry cleaners, even the people who donate their time when it comes to cutting hair. They all come together. Even Cirque du Soleil comes and actually does hemming. So it's really a community effort coming together to really make a difference in these kids' lives.
And what I thought was interesting is that, and he didn't want to take any credit for it, which was kind of weird. Mr. Patricksberger, who actually was one of the guys who started Project 150, but now he's doing his own thing with home aid. But he said, well, we help Project 150, but this is their baby now. It's like he's handed it off. He doesn't need to take any credit. Yeah. And that's what I just love about a lot of the organizations and the folks that we have on these shows is, of course, Zappos for Good, you're wearing the shirts, but it's not like you're out there tooting your own horn going, we're the best, and, have this big old, $200 a plate dinner. It's like, no, you're doing the work. And I think that, and there's nothing wrong with having these big dinners, but sometimes you just need to have people who want to do the work.
Yeah, I think for us, it's not really so much. I mean, over the last 7 years, since we've taken it over, we went from cutting checks to really how do we engage charities in the community, but we really haven't done a lot to promote it. And if a news organization show up, they show up. If they don't, they don't. We're not too worried about it. We do it because it's the right thing to do, and it shows our employees that our employees get a lot of stuff throughout the year, and we want them to actually give back. And it also shows the community that an organization like Zappos or any of the organizations that are out here in the Valley should be able to get out there and help their community and do their part.
Now, how much is that Zappos culture of customer service? How much is that is part of what you're doing when you get involved with these different nonprofit organizations?
Yeah, I think it's a huge part of it. I think part of it is the experience. We do a great customer experience is what we're really focused on when we're talking to our customers, and we want to do that same thing. And we consider, these people from Project 150 or any of the other charities that we support, we consider them to be like our customers, someone that we should be helping. And so we pass that along through that. And it's very much just like our culture. I think we try to do that whether we're getting something from a customer or we're giving something in return. We try to make sure that same value or those core values that we have are represented in both.
Now, is downtown really as hip as everybody says it is?
I don't go out much. I work a lot, so I don't get a chance to actually experience it. I see it from the windows as I'm working late at night. Ray actually grew up here, so he lives.
So you're a Las
He probably
Vegas,
knows more than I do.
So you've seen the changes too, just like I have downtown.
I sure have. So I remember before it became the Fremont East District and everything, so before they did all the renovations and everything. So I consider myself a long time, native Las Vegan, although I haven't, but I had grandparents that moved here in 94, so I was here all the time and saw the constant change in downtown. But in terms of safety, it's definitely improved from where it was, 15, 20 years ago.
There was a time, I think about the time you actually moved to town, where I was doing a story on the downtown Rangers, and I'd heard the buzz. I noticed when I was at Channel 13, there were two types of people. There were people who moved in, that everybody who just was new to town, who had no bad memories of downtown. They only wanted to be downtown. It was only the locals who didn't want to be downtown. So I started walking my dog downtown because I thought, I'm running out of places to go. And there was that day when I was standing on 9th and Fremont going, oh my gosh, I'm not going to get shot. It was so pretty, the container park and all that stuff, and it's there are people with kids in strollers and they're walking their dogs, and the transformation, as you've seen, has been tremendous. It's just been a lot.
Yes, it's amazing. Now you can go out to the container park at night, walk from there down to the Fremont Street experience, and watch the light show and watch live bands there all night long. So before it was a bit questionable, but now
exactly. What are the changes between the three of you? What are the things that now I think we're on a roll in the city in terms of economic rebound and people really having a sense of encouragement and purpose and drive again? I mean, you can feel it in the city with the sports coming, and now everybody's we can be happy. There's a bright future ahead. Just the three of you, what do you think are the most important changes we need to make to really turn this community around?
So I think it's just we're a city that's not only about casinos anymore. So you're seeing all these major businesses come in. You're seeing, what the downtown project has done and Tony has done to really revitalize certain areas of the community. You're also seeing sports teams, and I think all that stuff really helps make it.
Got soccer coming downtown.
Yeah, I'm from Southern California, so you had sports teams, you had diversity when it came to businesses and kind of the people that were there. And I think that's what's going to happen now that all these things are starting to kind of accumulate.
What do you think, Ray?
I think definitely all Las Vegas residents coming together as a community and go ahead and support the local events that are going on. Also with the sports teams, I feel like that will bring that because sports fans stick together. So supporting local businesses, supporting the needs of the community as well. So coming together and donating towards events just like this. So.
Right, Robert.
Yep. Yeah. So I actually grew up here. I spent my whole life in Vegas. So I think it's been amazing to see the expansion of how far we've expanded up north, up south, up east, west. Everywhere's expanded. So I think it's great that the infrastructure has expanded so far. I think more than anything now is creating a culture amongst everyone and then uniting everyone and just giving Vegas a great reputation for being a hospitable city and a city that gives back to the local community, just because we've expanded so much and there's a lot of need in the community that we're not aware of because we're a little too focused on the entertainment and the glitz. But I think more than anything we're honing down on that and we're actually focusing on giving back and supporting our city and the local people that live in it.
Well, and honestly, I will admit it, and I feel very, very guilty as a native too. Until I got involved with Project 150, I had no idea that we had such a huge homeless population of teenagers who were struggling just to get to school and didn't have school supplies. I mean, I'm watching my nieces and nephews. It's just nothing, You just go, you get your backpack, you get all your stuff, and you load up, and you're done. Like, there's a struggle for this, and really talking to people and getting more information, going, wow, so this is a need that is just not really being covered. And it's not that the news media doesn't want to cover it, but things catch fire and then people get shot. It's like, unfortunately, even that day, I think there was not a fire. Something happened on our way, and I was like, no. We're shooting this story, and then it turned out not to be a big deal. But I think that's going to be, I'm just getting on my soapbox here, I think that's going to be the next key, is where we have programs like these and digital broadcasting where we now have the time. Because before, I couldn't have talked to you guys for this long. I mean, it would have been like 6 seconds. And so, what's your name? Yeah. What's your name? What's your name? See ya, But now to be able to sit and actually have a conversation and let people know what they can do, because I think that's a lot of what Patrick was saying. He said, if you let people, if you give them an avenue to give, and let them, make it easy on them, they'll do it.
Yeah.
But it's going to be difficult. I mean, everybody's busy. They got their own lives going. But this was something where it wasn't like it's so time intensive, but also now I can explain how, as you go on during the year, you can stop by the boutique, and you can stop by a smaller event that Zappos is co-sponsoring. It doesn't have to be that one big day. It can be all those things that happen during the year that don't necessarily get a lot of coverage. You know?
There's a lot of collections, I think, that Project 150 does throughout the year that, if you have something that you think that can help a high school teen in need, I mean, I definitely would say that they would take the call and find out what would be the best way to actually get that, because their warehouse, they've stockpiled that to the brim. We've even helped them with an offsite warehouse just to be able to maintain like all the prom dresses throughout the year, so that they could focus on, when it's not prom season, they could stock the things that, those kids need when they need them at that time.
Right. Well, and like I said, that's what I thought when I walked in there. It's like, this looks like the Zappos warehouse. I mean, it was piled up to the rafters. So what do you guys need next?
So right now we're focusing on winter. Back to school, we always still need school supplies ongoing throughout the year. We go through around 5,000 backpacks a year. At the Zappos event, we gave over 1,000 backpacks at that event. As a nonprofit, we go around through 5,000 a year that we give to students. They cycle through 2 or 3 of them. As we talked about earlier, the wear and tear a backpack goes through for the students. If they're taking their change of clothes, if they're taking their athletic wear, if they're taking their meals for the weekend, they go through wear and tear. So we're always looking for new school supplies, as well as new undergarments for the students. You'll be surprised at how many students will ask for a clean pair of underwear, a clean pair of socks, a bra to go to school. The essentials that we all take for granted, that we just pick one out and shower and get ready for the day, but these students might be using the same pair 4 or 5 times a week. So always we have a huge need for new undergarments, as well as a lot of new and gently used clothing that we can take at our donation center on Rancho, especially for men's attire, just because we have 50-50 male and female, and we always have a huge need for men's clothing as well.
Wow. So can people also give you money?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We'll always take money. We never say no to money. But yeah, no, absolutely. We'll always take donations of anything, whether it be a cash donation, a check donation. We'll take it over at our donation center on 3600 North Rancho. If you want to donate your clothing, if you want to donate your time, we love our volunteers at Project 150. We have a very, very small team of 5 employees. Everything else, the warehouse, our boutique, everything else is all volunteer run. So Zappos is a great partnership for volunteers during our events, but we always are volunteer run, and we love our volunteers as well. If donating time is something you'd like to do.
So what is your Project 150 vision? Or is it to not have to have Project 150 one day? Or
our goal would be to be out of business one day. Our goal would be that one day Vegas would not have the need for us to continue running. But while we still have it running, our goal is to continue expanding. We expanded into our huge warehouse with the boutique edition recently 2.5 years ago. Our long-term goals, we want to do classes, mentorship, workshops, housing eventually. So we have all these goals eventually for our nonprofit. And we've been blessed to have so many nonprofit partners and community agencies like Zappos support our mission. So just continuing those efforts and seeing, but it'd be great to be out of business one day. to be out of a job. But in the meantime, it's definitely a need, and we'll continue working hard every single day to help all these students.
And one of the things that you also offer is a sponsorship. You have scholarships and also a sponsorship of a resource room.
Yeah,
What's that?
absolutely. So at our high schools right now, we have up and coming, we're going to have about 8 running for this school year. Each high school, we talked to a couple high schools, especially our high needs high schools in the area, and they actually have, either a classroom, a portable, a class, some type of an office setup for students, and we'll take items over there. We'll have food items, hygiene items, clothing items, school supplies there in the room. So the students, so for a lot of them, they bus over to our warehouse on Rancho. So if they're not able to get that transportation, they can truly go to their school's counselor's office, their resource room, and it's a sponsorship that we have through a couple of community partners. The Cosmopolitan Las Vegas sponsors one of our resource rooms, a couple of businesses, agencies sponsor us, and we truly have those $12,000 that go to a room, and we give thousands of dollars worth of product to the students in need throughout the year.
Wow, that's amazing. So you make it as easy as you can possibly make it for these kids to stay in school, because that is your aim.
Absolutely.
It's like you say, it's tough enough to be in high school.
Yeah, our motto is high school is tough enough.
Right.
With them going through classes, working part-time, athletics, meeting friends, just being in high school is tough enough for a student. For them to be worried about their essentials, about where they're going to lay their head at night, where their next meal is going to come from, that's why we're here in town, for us to give those students relief of those questions, for them to truly focus on graduating. These students want to graduate. They're doing the effort. They're going to class. Maybe it takes them an hour to get there on the bus, but they're in the seats doing the work. And if we can give them the school supplies, the food, and the hygiene and the clothing to do that, it's what we're here to do.
How much do you get involved with their parents and the other members of their families?
We try as best as we can. Our boutique, we have families come by, so we'll try to serve the younger siblings if we can. We serve the parents if we're able to as well. Family involvement is huge for us, because a lot of the issues, if there's an issue with the high schooler, the family's going to have the issue as well. So we try our very best, to support the families for the holidays. We actually do holiday meals. So we, Thanksgiving and Christmas, we do a box of the holiday meals. We do ham for Christmas, turkey breast for Thanksgiving, mashed potatoes, gravy, stuffing, all of that in a box for the family. So we try to help the families as well as the students, because we know if there's a need in the student, the family's probably going to have the need. So we have other programs at our agency set to tackle the family issues as well.
All right, we're going to take another quick break. We're going to be right back and get some contact information for these guys and find out how you can get involved and help them out and help the whole community out. So stay tuned.
Crazy Terry here with your car care tip of the day. Today's tips about tire maintenance, how to check a tire, how to fill it properly. Okay, so as we can see, we've got a low tire. We probably saw that a month ago and said we'll fill it, but like everything, we let a day go by. Next thing you know, we got a problem. Properly check a tire, remove the valve cover. Got a tire gauge, simply put it on there, and it'll read the pressure down at the bottom in PSI, pounds per square inch. We can see here that this is so low, it's barely reading. There's probably 10 pounds in it at best. So how do we properly inflate it? Well, we're going to need an air chuck. Go down to the local store or come by the shop. We'll use this tool to inflate it. And that sounds like that's all we need to do. But we need to know how much to inflate it to, because overinflated is just as bad as underinflated. We can look at the tire, and on here we're going to find a cold pressure rating rated in PSI. And it's going to say anywhere from 32 to 80 pounds depending on the vehicle. We'll want to find that so we know the maximum inflation cold. We're going to look until we find the load rating. And here we find the maximum PSI is 44 PSI, pounds per square inch cold. We don't want to fill it any more than that, but we don't want to underfill it either. We want to fill it to 44. So it seems like checking the air pressure is no big deal. It's not. It's really simple to do, but we want to make sure we got the correct pressure. How do we find that? Let me show you. We open the door and we locate the sticker. It's usually right here. It could be down on the lower rocker, but it's on the driver's side. And after we look around, we'll see right here it says 35 PSI. That's the pressure that the tire requires that was sold with the vehicle. But if you change the tires later to a high-performance tire, mud and snow, or anything else, look at the cold pressure on the side of the tire to make sure you're properly inflated. This could be 35 today, but we get a performance tire, it's 44, 45, or even higher. We'll want to make sure we're inflating the tire properly. A couple of things you're going to need if you're checking your own tires: tire gauge and a rag, because you are going to get a little dirty. If you don't want to do that, I don't blame you. Bring it to the shop. We'll check it for you. We'll do a whole inspection on the vehicle if you like. We'll check the tires, make sure you're safe. This can save you a lot of time and keep you safe. Crazy Terry here with your car care tip of the day. Thanks a lot.
If you haven't been convinced by now, there's no convincing you. This is a great program. Project 150 is making a difference in the lives of teenagers here in Southern Nevada. Zappos and Homemade, getting out there, getting the word out, getting, all the things that are necessary for these kids to stay in high school and graduate. We always hear so much about the graduation rate, but here these kids are struggling to stay in school. So we need to give them all the help that, they need. And so let's wrap it up. How do we get stuff to you?
So you guys are more than welcome to donate to us. We're off 3600 North Rancho and Gowan are our cross streets. We also have community partner drop-off sites. So let's say you're on the south side of town, east side of town, let us know. Give us a call, 702-721-7150. We'll get you a drop-off site close to your home so you don't have to make the drive over. You can donate your time by volunteering with us Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, over at our warehouse as well. Like I said, we have our events with Zappos as well. Try to engage the community at volunteering at our events. It's a huge opportunity to not only give back, but also to see the population that we serve and to see the smile on a kid's face giving them a backpack. I'm pretty sure they can attest to it. It's definitely the best feeling when you see a kid's face getting a new backpack.
Right. Yeah. So do you have to be a Zappos employee to actually wear a Zappos t-shirt?
No, so I have a whole closet of these. It's actually the only thing that I actually wear when I'm at work. I literally have like 50 of these in my closet. It's just easier. I don't have to make any decisions in the morning. But no, actually, so this last event that we had, I think, about 300 volunteers or so, and about half of them, if not even 200 of them, were actually external volunteers or people in the community that reached out to Project 150 that have long been volunteers or even sometimes new. And it was parents. I saw some young kids. But the idea is I would love to see more community members get involved. I think our Zappos employees are great, but I want to fill those events and I want to fill those experiences so that we can get that word out there more and people can really see what Project 150 does.
And as a native who grew up here, This has got to be so exciting to watch this metamorphosis. I mean, because we've always loved each other here in Southern Nevada, but this type of just outpouring is just amazing.
It is, and that's what I love about Las Vegas in general, is that it's always ever-changing and always evolving. So as we get out there with the sports teams, all that stuff, and the revitalization of downtown Las Vegas, we're all just coming together a bit more, so I would love to see way more of that as we grow.
All right. Well, thank you all for being my guests here on Live Las Vegas with Rikki Cheese. Of course, you guys know that you need to like, share, follow, do all that stuff, and get the word out. We're going to, of course, have the show up on our website, and so you can, kind of go back on, see how you want to help. They've really laid it out for you. It's very, very easy, and we'd like to see you at the next event, and I'd like to be at the next event. I had a great time. And I had a great time on this show. Thank you for joining me for Live Las Vegas with Rikki Cheese.